In 2018, he had to play without Steph for a round against, who was that against? Was that against Portland? No, it was against San Antonio. But he had Clay, and they obviously won that. But that's it. And so, yeah, I mean, listen, it's asking a lot from Kevin Durant. Now, luckily, Brandon, he's the best player on the planet. Luckily, Brandon, the Nets still have the great Joe Harris, Blake Griffin, Mike James, who we were talking about last week, and the Bucks are, a flawed one-man team. So, yeah, I think that the Nets are in a tougher spot, but they got to win 2 of the next 3 with 2 of them at home. I assume you believe, I don't know where your Durant jersey is, that they can do it. You don't look
Where's
like
the Durant jersey? That's all that's left. Yeah. I mean, people asking me today, walking into the studio, how was your weekend? How was my weekend? Terrible. James Harden in his hamstring. You got Kyrie Irving in his ankle. And yes, all I'm left is with Durant. He is one of the greatest players on the planet right now. He's a walking bucket. But the reality, Nick, is it might be damn near impossible to get it done if Kyrie don't come back. If James Harden doesn't walk back in there with a hamstring that can hold up for 32, 34 minutes, then I don't know if they have a chance. They are the better team given the situation. The Bucks are the better team. Drew Holiday can ball. Chris Middleton is probably the most underrated player out there. Look what he did, the big shots he made last night. Like, come on, man. This is all bad. This was but this has been the situation all year. All year. They only played together 8 times. They're banged up. Injury after injury after injury. So this is just all bad for the Brooklyn Nets right now, and it's just tearing up my season, man.
Well, I do feel for you, Brandon, but not that much, because this was kind of predictable. So you can look back to NBA Finals. This obviously isn't the Finals, but NBA postseasons where it's like, man, injuries determined it. Some would argue in 2015 when Love and Kyrie go down for those Cavs with LeBron.
Right.
And that was shocking because Love and Kyrie had both played 75 games that year. A lot of people, of course, go to 2019 when KD and Clay go down for the Warriors. And that was shocking because both of those guys had played 78 games this year. One of the reasons I have not been as high on the Nets as literally every other basketball-watching American is this concern. James Harden dealing with a hamstring injury these playoffs is not surprising. It would have been surprising if he didn't. He missed 20 games this year with the hamstring injury. And Kyrie Irving, unfortunately, getting banged up in a postseason is not surprising. In 2015, he was injured for the end of the postseason. In 2018, he was injured for the postseason. In 2020, he was injured for the postseason. So these aren't shocking events. The one guy that you would have been shocked if something would have happened to him would have been Durant, because he's dealt with the one major injury other than his foot over the last decade. But Brandon, I am surprised
injuries happen.
That you're so inconsolable, that you're so down on the Nets' chances. They're at home with the best
100%.
player. KD's far better than Giannis, right?
You can't control that. So everything you just talked about, injuries, you can't control that. Kyrie in the paint, going up for a rebound, comes down, twists an ankle. That has nothing to do with him and his approach to taking care of his body. That is something that you can't control. Hell, last year in the bubble, we saw Giannis dealing with a knee. So every guy, every female athlete deals with injuries. It's just inevitable. But it's just all about timing. Here's the thing that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker, low key, has really put he imposed his will, excuse me. There you go. He put a stamp on this series, and you said it. You said P.J. Tucker can stop KD, and KD came out and lit him up game 1 and even in game 2. And then all of a sudden, man, this dude is playing lights out game 3, game 4. Now, I do have Kevin Durant penciled in for a big game. Without Kyrie Irving, without James Harden, I don't think they get it done. I think Kevin Durant can have a big game or 2, keep him in contention, but it's going to be hard. P.J. Tucker has been phenomenal. I thought that little corner 3 was going to be the reason why he, at the end of the series, like, yo, PJ Tucker, he was worth the trade. He was worth it. But no, his defense has stood up. Him last night on KD was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know if there was any calls to bring security back in to try to get him away from KD, but he played phenomenal. Brandon, I want to show you two things. The first one, which made me think that, like, the blowout from Game 2 was far away. This was after Kyrie's left. The Bucks are just playing with so much confidence here. Once the ball starts being thrown between Kevin Durant's legs, that means that the Bucks are no longer afraid of the Nets. And Nick, we talked about it last week. The threes are starting to fall. They made 16 out of 47, 34%. Here's the dangerous thing. Still not even as good as they are in the regular season. Do you see them raining down threes in Game 5 and taking it?
Oh, I don't know if they'll make 16 again, but they're not going to make 6. And I want to talk for a moment, though, about Game 4, because people are going to misremember how this happened. This game flipped before Kyrie got hurt.